live. Welcome to my thoughts on Arrow Season 1, Episode 20, Home Invasion. The episode is rated TV-14, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for the episodes, as well as all the ones leading up to it. Another episode I love. Right, before we get into the chronological, I really appreciated the way that this changes several relationships. This thing of Tommy leaving, so sad, over him leaving because he knows that, sure, Laurel doesn't love Oliver, but she does love, Arrow. And if at some point she finds out, so he's, it's a preemptive strike. He's ending the relationship so that doesn't happen. So, I'm joking, obviously. It's not a preemptive strike. It's the fact that he just couldn't... He would be fake. He would be faking the relationship if he were with her now that he's, had this realization. And, he doesn't necessarily handle it the best way, but he did also have to say something. He can't tell her the truth, obviously. And she realizes he's lying. There are a lot of women who are very good at telling when the men in their lives are lying to them. So that's one of the multiple reasons why we should try not to lie to them. So many of them can handle the truth way better than I get it for what he's doing. To be clear, I'm not saying he has that many really good options, but in reality, it's... a lot of the time we're telling a lie to, protect her. And if she's asking for the truth, then she means that, and we have to trust her to handle the truth. And not deride her truth-handling abilities. I think... and Dig also ends up leaving. Just, I can understand why. I think that does pretty well. And Roy getting ever closer to Robin Hood, Arrow. I think that does cover, so, chronological. So the, I think, okay, more or less chronological. So the, let's see. I think, let's see. I think I do remember what it, so the first thing we got was the, what's the word? Him, dead shot. Shotting dead someone. Ambassador, I think they said he was. Love the detail with the, we see, I think it was glass shatter also. Because, the bullet went through that, and then as soon as he's fired, he, for some reason, looks up from what he was doing, looks directly at the camera and says, "What have you done recently?" Which I thought was a very weird place to put that reference. That's intercut with Dig and Oliver training. And I kind of love that at the end of their training, we see Felicity's just been sitting there the whole time working at the computer, because, at this point, it's... Because, she might feel like watching, if she's... Or wait, actually, I guess, let's see. I was gonna say that she might ogle them, because, and that's not a thing on women. I think, people of all genders sometimes, will say, because she could be like, no, I'm learning. You keep going. But then Dig is with Christina, and until very recently, Oliver was with Mackenzie. That's not how you pronounce her name. I think you know who I'm talking about. McKenna, I think. And she might still, he might still be like, oh, I really miss her, so maybe that's why. That's very respectful of Felicity. But yeah, she's just sitting there, just like she's used to it. She's like, they get half naked and sweaty every night, so gets old after a while. Um, but yeah, this thing of, you know, um, the let's see, what was the other thing? Well, anyway, Dig talks to Lila, I think is her name, and um, yeah, what's the word? There's a, she knew, she's found out that Deadshot killed Dig's brother, and is understandably resentful of being used. And yeah, Oliver goes to the thing about, so you two are still lunch dating. It's just that she is your ex and she's dating your ex best friend. I don't know. It just feels, and he points out, well, other parts of my life are complicated too. And so, he goes to the lunch date and she left a voice message, and yeah, it's one of those things, like, ideally, like, realistically, you should probably get better at checking those, but on the other hand, if he hadn't met Taylor, there might be less of, well, okay, he's doing it for Laurel as well, but in part also Taylor. The climax, I mean. But then we have the, let's see, he finds out the lunch date has to be canceled, a bunch of work stuff came up, and we have the, what's the word, the, the family shows up, and, the thing about, Oliver, meet, Mr. and Mrs., and you must be their bodyguard. It just, I really love how everyone in this episode that isn't Mr. Blank, which is what the subtitles identify him as, the killer, literally everybody else who interacts with this kid knows exactly how to talk to him. It's just, it's wonderful. We have so much media where someone, and it's either like a joke or a dramatic moment, but someone will say or do something horrible to a child. I suppose they do have that with Mr. Blank, but other than that, yeah. Like, I was surprised by Tommy, for example. And a little bit by Oliver. Not so much by Laurel or Moira. I think that does pretty well, but yeah, them talking about, and they're like, we got to take Rasmus down. And that's one of those things I've noted before. I don't know if there still are, but some years back there was a non-zero number of Danish rappers who went by Rasmus. And the thing is, in Danish we pronounce that name Rasmus. And I'm sorry, I'm never gonna think of you as a badass if you call yourself Rasmus. At least go by like Ray or something. Like, a lot of rappers take up names that are, not 100% their own name. It's kind of a thing. I don't know if you've heard. I don't know how much you know about hip hop, but you're allowed, you're kind of, I'm pretty sure that is like in the, welcoming letter. What will your rap name be, But yeah, as long as you pronounce it Rasmus, which is also like, I guess he hails from, if not Denmark, at least Scandinavia. Yeah, we do have bad eggs here as well, I'm sorry to say. Occasionally some of them become prime minister, lie us into wars in the Middle East. But the, let's see. Yeah, when they're talking about, like, immediately I'm like, okay, Oliver, you better get this guy before the episode's out. And in a way he does, and in another way Mr. Blank does, depending on where you draw that line. But yeah, they're talking about, we trusted him. What was it, like the pension fund and Taylor's college fund, and it's just like, okay, there's no need for the hard sell. You got me. Like, holy crap, they gotta stop this guy. He is just the worst of the worst. Um, yeah, um, of white collar crime, I mean. Then we have the I think the next scene is them being, so yeah, the home invasion, the titular home invasion, which apparently also, like, according to IMDb trivia, there's other media that at least one of the actors appeared in that's called Home Invasion. So I guess it's their brand now. Um, but yeah, this thing of, like, he claims he's working for, you know, Miss Lance, the lawyer, and you know, it's a believable, but like, we the audience are immediately like, there's something wrong here. This is not right. Love the use of thunderbolt and lightning. Very, very frightening in the episode. To me, I can't speak for everybody else. And but yeah, so he shoots the father, and then we see the mother, and I'm like, please, no mas, not that you already took away his father. You're gonna take away his mother too. Great, Taylor, you're an orphan now. And not very long after, they start talking about, like, oh yeah, he's a ward of the state now. He's and then the CPS lady's like, well, have it your way, baby. Like that Troy McClure movie. But the yeah, CPS not really beating those allegations about sometimes being more harm than good. Listen, I appreciate that something like that needs to exist, but I have heard so many stories about, yeah, just them being weaponized, and yeah. Anyway, I think that does pretty well. Obviously, if you're working for CPS and you're trying your best, you're doing what you can to make it work. I'm not, yeah, you are. I really appreciate that. I think, but yeah, they later in the news broadcast they say miraculously. I agree. Was that even on the ground floor? God, I hope that kid didn't have to, like, climb the rainy outside of the, I don't know. But yeah, and it's one of those things, like, once there's a little bit of distance, because, like, where's Mr. Blank gonna go? The kid could have ran in any direction, and the more time Mr. Blank spends with the gun out, ready to kill, he risks more people seeing his face, and he takes that very seriously. Listen, I'm playing Hitman 2016 right now. I know, the game punishes you if you don't, you're gonna want to keep an eye on any witnesses that are so. Yeah, he learned from the best. It's an amazing game, and very cool to see that actor also appears in a Marvel thing, and yeah, he did well there. He does well here. I think that does bring us to the, yeah, what was the other thing? And it is kind of fun because he does have crap. I guess I can't say that because that's a spoiler, isn't it? Okay, it's in the IMDb trivia if you want to know it. For this episode, I mean. There's a certain aspect of him that is in some ways similar to something else in this episode. Let's go with that. Yes, so the I think, what was the next thing? Yeah, the thing about, what are we, the how do we, yeah, Laurel, this thing of, like, as his parents' attorney, I hereby grant myself legal guardianship. And, CPS lady is like, well, I mean, you'll have to get like a judge to sign off on that. And she's like, you'll have it within an hour. Okay. Well, deep below the surface of the earth, there is a diamond. If you reach that diamond and retrieve it within 3 days, you can be Taylor's legal guardian. But yeah. And her like hugging Taylor was also very sweet, and clearly what the kid needed. I forget if that did that happen in that scene or only later. It happened at least once in this episode, and yeah. Then we have the bit where what's the other thing? I guess that's it for that scene. Yeah. The thing with the let's see. Okay, certainly one of the next scenes is yeah, the three of them in Laurel's place, and very fortunate that Oliver, gets there and in time as well. But yeah, he rings the doorbell and says, "I was sent by your father to check. I'm a lieutenant." And again, it's this thing of like, because we're thinking, well, that is again a very believable story. Mr. Blank is really good at getting into people's homes, scary good. It's really only with Laurel that he, they're yeah, that didn't go exactly as he had hoped. But yeah, he's holding up the pistol to the, what's it called? The I forget what it's called, but and then she's like, "Can you hold up the badge so I can see it through the peephole, maybe?" Yeah, it's really tense because we see her head getting close to the other side of the peephole, and at the same time, as soon as we see, so we're thinking, oh, he's going to shoot her through there, but as soon as we see him hold up the badge, we immediately go like, oh, right, yeah, because like, she's not the target. Like, for all he knows, Tommy is at the fire escape, with Taylor ready to go, through it. It makes more sense for him. And he might not be able to get to Taylor in time before Taylor is so far away that it again is a problem, and it's only a matter of time before he gets even more protection. After this scene, Quentin is like, okay, Witsec. But yeah, this thing of what's the word? I think, yeah, what is yeah. So she sees the badge, and then she tries to get them away from the door. Noting he said he was lieutenant. His badge began with the number 0. Lieutenant's badges begin with the number 1, and it's very clever because we Quentin, I think it is Quentin who says he killed 2 of my men. Yeah, they weren't lieutenants. He killed the 2 people outside, so that he didn't have to deal with them afterwards. And he grabbed the badge off one of them, and he doesn't know enough about cops to know. He has his very particular set of skills, but it doesn't include badge numbers, which hers does because, Cop Dad. Now on CBS. But yeah. Let's see. There probably is a show like that, right? They made Major Dad, I remember. Anyway, yeah. Yes. So, he starts shooting and, manages to get through the door. And they, and he says, it was the badge number that gave me away, wasn't it? And she's like, my dad's a cop. He taught me something else. And then she's got the freaking shotgun, like, holy crap. But yeah, he was too quick for her. And then, I guess it jams or something, which, I mean, that does happen. And yeah, he's about to shoot. And then Oliver, just in the nick of time, manages to, and again, the arrow to take the weapon out of the, he took away his weapon. One of them, yeah. And, yeah, Tommy does acknowledge to Oliver, you saved our lives tonight, but that doesn't mean that he is comfortable with this whole situation, and ultimately he does also leave Laurel. I think I did also quite appreciate that, so the lunch date is off, but they can talk for a few seconds, and he's like, Merlin, Tommy went to work with his dad. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. Which I guess maybe also helps make her a little more, I mean, I feel like by the end of the episode, she still doesn't believe him. She still thinks he's lying, Tommy is, when he gives the reason for breaking up. But if there is any chance for her to believe it, maybe him working for his dad is, yeah. And that is also, like, I'm worried that he's perhaps sliding, but what's the word? Backsliding? Deteriorating. He's going back to a Tommy that we used to know that is not the best, yeah, the best person, especially with his dad's influence. I think that does holy crap. Oh, okay. I swear I'm trying not to, like, spoil anything for myself, but I can't help but think about that Tommy already hates, he can't stand what Arrow does. He knows who Arrow is. If Mr. Merlin tries to like, he's not going to have to work very hard to turn Tommy against Arrow. Holy crap. Okay. I swear I'm not gonna, like, think too much about it. To not risk spoiling anything for myself. Anyway, I think that might be around when the episode where Roy, yeah, so he goes in, and it's clever because, like, he's technically not, he's on, it's a half truth. Like that thing about Homer Simpson sleeping nude in a shower curtain, I think it was. Anyway, yeah, he says to Quentin, I want to, I want the Hood brought to justice, same as anybody else. And that is a lie, but him saying, he just wanted to know if they knew more about the Hood. That's true. And because he doesn't get a definitive answer, or it's possible he was already planning on it, but yeah, he steals a police radio, and yeah, like, kid, what were you thinking? Like, did you really think they wouldn't realize, like, one moment there's a police radio there, just where it's supposed to be. Then I talk to this guy who has a rap sheet a mile long, and the next thing I know, it's gone. That's weird. What a weird coinkydink. Yeah, to be clear, I'm not saying that having done crime before means you are guaranteed to do in the future. I'm saying that's how cops think. Let's see. What I just said, that was Quentin's thinking, is what I'm saying. And yeah, later, you know, they're eating in and they went, chewing might help. And then, you know, there's some chatter from the radio because he didn't even turn it off whilst right next to her. And I appreciate. I see you, Thea. That was. I would have made the joke that, or wait, sorry. It's Roy making the joke, but the thing about, you know, do you have a police radio in the pocket? No, I'm just happy to see you. He beat me by 1 second. Okay, by over a decade, but whatever. But I think that does pretty well bring us to the, what was the next thing? I guess I'll just, yeah, I might as well finish off. So yeah, he goes out to, you know, because it says, you know, oh, so, you know, vigilante activity at that point. And that's, yeah, good job on the trap, too. Nice night, huh? um, and I think, okay, let's do, I think around this point in the episode is when we have Dig, yeah, hoping that Oliver is gonna, and you know, he's not there. And the thing about, you know, Dig, it's clearly really important to Dig because, you know, there's the thing about, you know, Felicity says, so this is like the plan of the building, and Oliver's like, I know it, yeah, but he wanted you to perch in this exact spot, but best spot for shooting him. I think he used a bunch of military lingo, and I didn't really understand. So you're about to snipe a sniper. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain. Okay, I'll stop. And the yeah, and you know, Oliver just gives no answer, and then she's like, me neither. But and then she points out, so Rasmus might be your last chance at, you know, and he even says, you know, so can't wait to go to a country with no extradition. I guess he's hoping that Batman isn't going to get involved. But the yeah, the fact that, yeah, Oliver, like, if, he did manage to stop Rasmus, and ultimately, like, Blank stop. Would Blank have had to go to China? So in a way, technically, and then, you know, would he have been able to get back in time to take out the other? No, yeah, I guess it would have at most been a delay. Anyway, but yeah, the fact that, you know, Oliver isn't there to deal with Deadshot, which does mean that, you know, some of these agents are taken out by him. And this thing of, like, Dig, you know, runs up after him, and, you know, the yeah, he, you know, Deadshot wins their brief skirmish, and, you know, he says, the only reason I'm not pulling my triggers right now is the fact that nobody's paying me to. You know, that it's, remember that. You know, I can take you out anytime I want if you become too much of a problem for me. You know, if I at some point feel like it, I will, you know. Or maybe he's saying, I'll convince someone to pay me to take you out. And yeah, like, it is undeniable. Oliver could have stopped Deadshot there. And I think, yeah, so Thea goes to the police station. And it's like, so I'm looking for this kid. He's kind of a regular here. Oh, yeah, behind you. And yeah, she tries to talk Quentin out of, you know, yeah, it's unfortunate for her that Quentin is not the biggest fan of anyone in the entire Queen clan. And yeah, he tries the thing of, you know, scaring off Roy. 26. Holy crap! That's an average of, that's more than one per episode on average. Like, Oliver hasn't been He's not resting on his arrows. And while that they got away with, okay, I'm just gonna double check. Nope, yep, TV-14. This episode's rated TV-14, even though he jabs an arrow into a corpse, and we get like nice little squelchy sounds as well. Thank you for that. No, I mean that. I wasn't being sarcastic. Um, yeah, I think, and the thing about, well, in life, you get a name. Down here, you just get a number, and this is number 26. But yeah, Thea talks to him, and he's like, I have to, I can't go back to what I used to be, and yeah, it's one of those things, like, we can understand where his head's at. It's not impossible he read some of the comics too, and because he is kind of used to breaking the law, he breaks the law in order to accomplish his new goal. It can be very difficult to break with old habits, but he is doing it in the service of, he wants to find the Hood so that he can work with him, save people. And that's, again, a thing that, like, yeah, Oliver saving people episode after episode. It's just a matter of time before one actually, wants to, like, join him or something. Well, yeah, I mean, technically it's already happened. Let's see. Well, let's see. I guess with Felicity, it wasn't so much that it was more that she saved him again. But with Dig, yeah, he saved Dig's life. I think that pretty well brings it. So yeah. After the attack on the Lance residence, the Lancedents, yeah, he's, Quentin is understandably thinking Witsec, and the yeah, this point about, well, it's Tommy says, Oliver, you got another friend named Oliver I don't know about? Because it does sound kind of like, how is he gonna help? How is this an upgrade from Witsec? I do not follow. But yeah, he points out, there's so much security. They, no one goes in or out without, yeah, they have to be, like, let in by someone who knows. Worst case scenario, Helena Bertarelli comes around to and she has no interest in killing Taylor, so you're fine. I do wonder if Oliver told them, don't let in Helena again. She was more than a little me-murdery last I saw her. But yeah, I think that does bring us to, but yeah, they, right, also, yeah, then we also have the bit where Felicity's like, so, I hacked Argus, which, that makes me a cyber terrorist. That I don't think is good. I don't want to go to Gitmo. I don't think I'd, fit in there. And Oliver's like, no, they don't send blondes there. I die. I keep your secret. And again, if every female character was, like, just making jokes about stuff, because obviously in real life, a woman dyeing her hair is not as big of a deal as a guy going out and, like, killing people in this cause kind of thing, but so many of the female characters on the show are nothing like that. So, and I'm pretty sure it is being, like, ironic about even, or including Felicity. But yeah, I'm not sure she should be that worried. I mean, I think if you're a woman whose hair isn't blonde, let's see. I mean, depending on if you might be able to talk to the lawyer of a lawyer connected to the president and get like a really really good deal, even if what you did was you know some of the worst things we human beings have ever done to other human beings. Yeah, I think that's enough for you. Probably know who I'm talking about. Um, let's see. I think yes. So they they arrive at the yeah, the Queen residence, and I will say both of those bodyguards look like they can deflect bullets with their massive jawlines. So yeah, you guys should be safe there. The casting department did their job well. What can I say? Um, and yeah, the thing about you I'm here to pick you up for your appointment. The Floyd Lawton meeting. Yes, that's right. I want to show up in my good suit. I'll meet you there. And Tommy knows exactly what is. Yeah. So the yeah, he basically, yeah, it's that thing where he's grateful that they saved that Oliver saved their lives, but he still does not approve of the killing. And yeah, Moira, hello Taylor, would you like to see where I hide my best cookies? Just like, yeah, I hear that's a thing. Once a mom, always a mom kind of thing, because like she hasn't, been handing out cookies to her kids for years now. Her youngest just turned 18. It's probably been maybe 9 or 10 years since she was last handing out cookies, because then, you get to an age and you're like, Mom, no. And the fact that she even still has good cookies, like, yeah, once a mom, always a mom. There's just her mom sense were tinkling. Was, not were. Anyway, I think that does bring us to. Yeah, it is also the thing about Rasmus in the car, and again we're just like, oh, Oliver, you better stop him, or I will reach my hand into the screen and stop him myself somehow. I don't know how, but this, ugh, so terrible. He's sitting there chuckling after his assassin killed multiple people, like just, and he's thinking like, oh yeah, the assassin's gonna kill a kid. Wontons and no extradition. And then the car stops, and he's like, I thought I paid you extra not to stop at red. And then the arrows fly through the car window and like pin him. And the camera pulls out, and it's like, very nicely delivered visual. It's a sight gag. He didn't stop for reds. He did stop for a green, though. And I think that does bring us to the right. I do appreciate, Thea kept, Roy even points out, you keep telling me I have to be more. This is more, and it is like understandable that this is something. There's also, he said that he decided not to show up for his first day of work. So I guess. Well, let's see. I guess way back in the day, the Ford employees did show up for the first day. They just stopped showing up. What was it, like 74% of the people who quit stopped showing up rather than like give notice or anything. Yeah, that was I think it was the Rational National or maybe Cavernacle. One of the leftists here on YouTube pointed that out about like way back, like I don't know, 70, 80 years ago or something, or early in the Ford plant. Yeah, people hated it. People hated working there. And then they started making a bunch of pro-capitalist propaganda to try to make people think that they actually liked this horrible, wage slavery. Anyway, I think, does that bring us to the, your lawyer's here. And he has no idea that this is gonna end so badly. He's just thinking like, okay, I don't know why you're checking in, but like, just don't kill the kid. Wow. I guess I was visited by 3 ghosts last night. I never thought I'd hear those words escape my lips. Holy crap. I'm a new man. What are you doing to my head? Oh crap. And I think what he did, I think that is a thing. And yeah, he's like, no, we gotta make it look official, lawyer stuff. Sign here, and once he's got his hand in that, he pressures, and yeah, I think every single word he said about that was 100% accurate. Yeah, it's I like when comic book media has one of these killers who'll kill you without even having a weapon. Like, he didn't even need, like, paperclip or anything. Like, holy crap. And yeah, by the time the guy dies, Mr. Blank is out of the room. And, I mean, it could be... I don't know exactly when they're going to notice, but by then, Mr. Blank is going to be completely gone from, he's going to be far enough away that they can't chase him down on foot. They'd have to find him. And I think it's one of those things where, like, is that cop really going to look closely at, as soon as he comes in and he says, I'm a lawyer, I'm here to get one of the worst people you have in custody out. The cop's probably not going to try to, like, memorize his face. He's probably like, fine, get in there and get it over with. I don't want to be here right now. I hate this, So, yeah. Yeah. I think that does pretty well bring us to... So there's obviously, there's a little bit of wrap-up. There's the climax. There's the flashbacks. Right, did want to note, in the not previously on, but the opening, they re-edited the opening a little bit, with where he has the voiceover and everything. Yeah, and they incorporated him jumping between rooftops, which I appreciate because it's one of the best stunts of the show so far. So yeah, I think that does pretty well bring us to the the bit where Oliver comes back and Dig understands. Everybody understands. And then Oliver wants something that Dig knows he can't do right now to stop being angry. And the thing about Oliver says, Felicity, you got something to say? And she's like, nothing you want to hear. Which is such a great, because like she knows he's not going to listen. And like if she starts explaining, he's just gonna yell at her again. He still hasn't apologized for that, by the way. But by saying nothing you want to hear, because like, yeah, he knows exactly what she would say. Maybe not the 100% the wording, but yeah, she does not approve that he chose, Rasmus over Lawton. I think that might be... What was the next thing? Let's see. I I don't know that I want to do the climax just yet. I think I did want to. Yeah, I thought they did a really great job of, of Laurel, when Tommy breaks up. Laurel shows tremendous emotional intelligence, which, again, not doing gender essentialism here. I'm talking about socialization. A lot of women are better at that than we men are. Um, yeah, she notes, this is a very emotional decision, moment. Both of us are upset. The you that has changed would not do this, and it really is like, holy crap. But we can understand somewhat. I do think like he should probably wait at least a little bit, um, but it is a TV show. They're going for maximum drama. And I can also appreciate he's like, he wants to get, he really doesn't want to fake it at all with her, which is, again, it's one of those things, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, because that is also, we men have got to get better at, you know, one should never fake a relationship with, especially a romantic one. And a lot of men just, yeah, um, it's a really bad thing to do. So I really appreciate the show saying, Tommy's not going to do that. I think, I feel like there's at least one more thing. Let's see. Right, and yeah, so they did say, because that's the thing about, oh, he'll be a ward of the state. Well, what about other family? And there's, oh, well, his grandparents are in Melbourne. They've been notified, but, until then, he's going to be, and I do also want to appreciate, not every foster kid hates that, but a lot do. I greatly appreciate both of the Shazam movies trying to destigmatize foster homes. But I don't think it's horrible that this episode has this. Also in part because like they are coming back. It's we're talking about. He would be a foster kid for a very short amount of time, and that can be upsetting. The kid might not. Yeah. And is also in part, you really want him to be with really loving people immediately. So, yeah, Laurel clearly like emotionally invested. She doesn't just think of it as like a job; it's a calling to her to help these people. But yeah, by the end of the episode, it's been like at least must have been like 2 days or more. Yeah, if they got the message in Melbourne and they arranged to fly back to America, yeah, there's a realistic amount of time. It's not like they were on the moon or something, and had to wait for the next launch of a rocket, unless of course, like I don't know, maybe eventually Musk will get those rockets that can land and take off, more readily. Maybe eventually they'll stop exploding. You cowards. But yeah, they're at the end. They are back with the family, and yeah, and it's also such a great because like yeah, I mean they look like, well, let's see. There's a couple of options. I guess it's possible they work there in Melbourne. Maybe they are retirees and they travel. Um, yeah, there's a couple of different reasons they might be down there that don't necessarily mean that he doesn't have a relationship with them. So yeah, and I mean, a lot of grandparents are wonderful. There's that meme. If I knew grandkids would be this much fun, I would have had them first. So I think does that right, and also right before Tommy breaks up, Laurel's got tears in her eyes, and she's like, Tommy, I really need you right now. Tommy, you better make this up. Like, holy crap, you are in the doghouse for now. Woof, woof, bark, bark, here's your bone. You're going to have to work hard to redeem yourself. Anyway, yeah, I think, there's at least one more. Maybe the flashbacks and the... Okay, I guess there's just flashbacks and then the climax. You know, I think I will just briefly talk flashbacks now then. So yeah, as usual, really great implementation. And yeah, you know, they talk about the plan, and there's the thing of like, we're not going to be able to carry out this plan if we don't have someone covering us. Oliver. And I continue to really love how Slade just has no patience for Oliver being, you know, solid F student on almost everything he's tried to teach him. So he's like, you're kidding, right? And yeah, you know, now he can crap, what's it called? He can draw the bow. Now he needs to get good at, you know, the actual firing of it. And yeah, so they stand there, you know, and she's like, okay, draw, hit that tree. New plan. Hit the broadside of a barn. And I'll have built a barn for you to hit before you'll be able to hit a tree. And yeah, they do that thing of, you know, she gets physically, you know, they're not thinking of it as that, but it's, you know, some sparks fly. They have, you know, both of them are in each other's debt for saving each other. I did also like when she said, you saved me? Sure, you just keep telling yourself that. But yeah, they, you know, and Slade says, I hope you two are getting closer to getting him to be able to aim. Because, like, yeah, they are getting closer. And I also really like, you know, he's like, I can't hit. And then she's like, draw and hit a tree. You know, like, because if you give up, you're, I don't know if he came up with it. So I'm not giving him credit. It's possible he heard or read it somewhere. But my grandfather used to say, and it's words to live by, there's nothing that you can do if you honestly, with all of your heart, decided that you can't do it. And yeah, you know, it's very important to you have to keep trying. It's and she's got the right attitude, you know. But yeah, eventually they do kiss, and you know, he says, you know, I can't, you know, there's someone else I love. And you know, there's that thing about, you know, does she know that you love her? Right now, I don't think so. But as soon as I get off this island, I'm gonna work like hell to make sure she does, you know. And that's, yeah. We have seen he does a lot to help her, to take care of her as much as he can, whilst of course keeping some distance because he doesn't. Yeah. The you know, keeping the secret is a very big part of, yeah. I think, does that? And yeah, I thought that was good. You know, that's sort of the part of the through line for the episode. His because there's early in the episode he looks at the picture again before joining the others in the room when they are talking about the plan. And yeah, the last bit of the flashbacks. Yao Fei. You know, I liked how all of them react to the rustling. Oh, right. Also, the part where, you know, he's like, this is impossible. And then she shows, you know, she's a crack shot with the bow and arrow. But yeah, you know, they hear the rustling of the leaves. And Oh, Xiao Fei, how did you escape? I didn't. Oh no. So yeah, they're they're boned, they're caught, and he, there's that line about your time on this island is at an end. So yeah, holy crap. Um, and also Slade, holy crap, he was like, you son of a, and they actually have to like hit him with the gun butt to, holy crap, he would have gotten himself shot to not have to, yeah. I think that does bring us to the climax. Yeah, just amazing. This thing of, the, right, also the thing about, you know, let's wake up Taylor and get out. That I will say that was perhaps the one thing. I think that was, yeah, that was Tommy talking, and that is also, he wasn't talking directly to the kid. Like I mentioned that everybody knows exactly how to talk to the kid. I guess other than the CPS, but she was kind of talking about him whilst he was nearby more than talking to him. Anyway, all right, I guess I did already say she was the exception. Anyway, yes, Tommy says, let's wake Taylor up and go to his own, and yeah, it's like, did Taylor like do something to you off screen to like what? Why do you no? Don't let him sleep. Like, holy crap, let him sleep, and you can go somewhere else, like after breakfast or something. Like, just yeah. Um, but I think it is because he doesn't like relying on Oliver, and that's what we're seeing. We see that he can be really good with kids, but his yeah, the relationship with Oliver deteriorating means that it's, yeah, it harms his ability to, be good with the kid. The kid was a really good actor as well. I grant he wasn't asked to do a whole lot, but some of the things, the yeah, he did a really good job with everything he was asked to do. I think that brings us, where were we? So yeah, the okay. So he's gonna stay the night, and then there's the thing about, there's a delivery. His ID checks out. Very clever, because like there's no way that door would open, and I'm sure it has too difficult of a lock to get through. And also, people with guns on the other side of the door might know if you have to spend some time breaking down that door. When he shot the door to Laurel's place, he wasn't expecting anyone in there to have a gun. But yeah, the guard opens and sees the poor delivery boy. I did not know him well. See the hand shaking, and it's like, someone, he's being forced to do it, like, and of course, like, Mr. Blank, wouldn't be very difficult for him to convince this kid, hey, pretend you, yeah. And yeah, the guard does get his, go for his gun, but is a little too late, understandably. So Blank takes out both of them and is now inside, and he only wounds the other guard, and then says, I'd rather not have to go check every room. And he puts like the gun right on the wound, which, like, that's gotta hurt. Like, yeah, because the front of the barrel would be extremely hot right after it's been fired, or the silencer. But yeah, the tip of the silencer would be extremely hot. So yeah, and that guard, you should give it a posthumous medal, because like he really took his job seriously. He's like, no, I'm not gonna help you with yeah. And then the power goes out, and Oliver's like, You should probably stay in here. I'll go. No, no, don't worry. It's probably just a power outage, but just in case, because like, yeah, he obviously knows it's not a power outage, a normal power outage. Um, and yeah, he breaks off, you know, the handle, and yeah, it's gonna, like, it's one of those things that's gonna make it very, very difficult for. Oh wait, can you even open a door like? Hmm. I think at that point, yeah, certainly the door is more difficult to open for Mr. Blank. Um, might also be easier to find the room, but Oliver knows he can get to him before he sees the broken knob. Um, which yeah, you'll want to go to an emergency room if you've got one of those. And yeah, some really cool fighting. Unusual to see him do it outside of the suit, but yeah, and yeah, they pull some cool moves throughout. Very, very nicely done. And yeah, he manages to get a fire poker and stab. Holy crap! Yeah, um, and it's one of those things of like. I don't know that it was the heart, but I think it was one of the other major organs. Yeah, there are a number of major organs, in the human body. If perforated, it doesn't take very long for someone to die of it. So yeah. I feel like if Quentin checks, he would probably be able to tell that Oliver was lying. Like, what was the thing? Oh yeah, the guard managed to stab, with a fire poker. He saved my life. Yeah, I don't think but maybe they are doing a thing. It's possible that he will be able to deduce something else happened there and like be okay with it, because like after all, this was, he stopped a killer from killing a child. You know. Yeah, I think that is everything I have to say about the episode. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Can hardly believe. So I guess there's just 3 left of this season. Yeah. I also really appreciated. No Name got crossed off the list in this episode. So it was basically Oliver choosing between Dig and Laurel, and choosing Laurel, as he always does, as Dig points out. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked as well if there had also been someone, from the list. Yeah. Yeah, I think that does pretty well cover everything. I feel bad for Thea. She can't get her brother to stop vigilanteing. Now she's struggling to get Roy to stop pursuing vigilanteing. Yeah, that is just meanwhile, both her father and mother involved in this organized crime thing. Stepdad was knocked out, kidnapped and such over over arguably vigilantism. So like, holy crap, this poor girl. She's gonna develop a complex at this point. Let's see. I think that does pretty well cover. Yeah, right. Also, when so yeah, Tommy, the part where Tommy is breaking up with Laurel, and she understandably emotionally says, "You can't be serious," and he stoically responds, "I am serious. This is my serious face."